and welcome to my bookshelf tour. When I first got this bookshelf, I only had 30 books, and now I just counted and I have 108 books. So this guy has grown a lot, and I actually filmed my building and organizing my bookshelf video exactly 9 months ago. So it's like my bookshelf has been grown in the womb for the last 9 months, and now she's a whole little bookshelf. That was weird. What am I even saying? Hello, it is Ali from the future, and I just got 2 books in the mail from Book of the Month, so now I officially own 110 books, which is pretty cool to say. And Book of the Month is a sponsor of today's video. The first book that they sent me is The Last Party. This is a murder mystery book that takes place in a tiny village, and I love the tagline, "At midnight, one of them is dead. By morning, all of them are suspects." I also love the cover. I think it's gorgeous. Then the second book I got is a romance called Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. And I've read a book by Kennedy Ryan before, and I loved it, so I'm so excited to read a second book by her. Oh, there's also a bookmark in here that says, "If you were a book, you'd be a classic." Thank you, Book of the Month. I would be a classic. And if you're not familiar with Book of the Month, they are a super popular online book service for readers, and their mission is to promote new and emerging authors, which I love. I am always trying to find new authors to read. Their team vets hundreds of books each month and then gives their readers a choice from a curated selection, so you can spend more time reading and less time researching what book you want to read next. And Book of the Month is risk-free, so you can skip any time, any month, and you will not be charged. Plus, they have the best price for new release hardcovers. The best price. You can get your first hardcover book for just $9.99, which is insane. Like, that's an insane price for paperback, but hardcover, that's crazy. So head to bookofthemonth.com and use my code CHILL to get your first book for $9.99. Anyway, I have my bookshelf color organized, which is not the most practical way to have your bookshelf organized, but I think it's really cute and aesthetic. And my bookshelf is in my living room, so it's one of the first things you see when you walk in my apartment, so I feel like how it looks is a little bit more important to me than the practicality of it being organized by like genre or author or categories or something like that. So I think I want to keep it color organized, but I think I want to redo the colors. Some of the ways I have the colors I don't think really make sense. I've got like grays with the whites, and like this like orange to green transition just like doesn't really make sense to me. But I think I'm gonna look on Pinterest for how other people have color organized their bookshelves. Ooh, this one looks really good. This one looks like it was done similar as well. Oh, this picture is gorgeous. One day I hope to have this many books. Oh my gosh, they did like a diagonal thing? Okay, that's a lot. I cannot do that. Okay, I feel like I have a pretty good idea of how I want to kind of like redo the colors. Still unsure about some of these problem books who have multicolor spines, but I'll figure that out when I get there. So I'm gonna reorganize, and then I'll take you guys through every single book I own. Also, this is not all of my books. I have a second bookshelf, and then I also have books just like throughout the apartment on like end tables and stuff like that for decor. So I'll take you through every single book in my entire apartment. And put the yellows up here. See, like, is this book purple or pink? I don't know. It's kind of both. I guess I'm gonna leave it in pink. I'm gonna go red to pink to purple. Okay, then I think I'm gonna make this row a super big row of green to blue. Okay, I think this is like the skeleton of what I want the bookshelf to look like, but I'm gonna make some like minor tweaks and changes to the individual books so it looks like a more seamless color fade. Okay, I finished. It's not like a big difference. No, you know what? I feel like it is a big difference. I feel like switching to put the yellows up there and the reds and pinks here, greens down here, I feel like game changer, game changer. Thank you, Pinterest, for the idea for the color order. Wow, okay, this looks so good. I feel proud. Let's get a before and after. Okay, now I'm gonna take you guys through every single 108 books that I own. First up, I've got Big Little Lies, which they made a TV show of with Reese Witherspoon. I love reading books and then watching their shows or movies. I actually want to do like a series in the future where you read books and then watch the show or movie adaptation. So I haven't read this book yet. 14 Ways to Die. I love this book and I don't really feel like I hear many people talk about it. It's a YA murder mystery. One of Us is Lying. I feel like everybody knows this book. I have been loving Karen A. McManus's books recently. It's also a YA murder mystery. Oh my gosh, another YA YA murder mystery. This is like my gray section. So I wonder if just like young adult murder mysteries are gray. Like, it's a little bit scary because they're gray, but they're not black, so they're not too scary, you know? I think when we get to the black section, it's gonna be like all thrillers mysteries. Anyway, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Everybody knows, definitely my favorite YA murder mystery by far. Every Summer After, I love this book so much, could not put it down. It's perfect for summer, it's a romance. If you like Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren, you will definitely like this book. We Were Liars, I felt kind of mixed about this book. I think I gave it 3 stars. Very cool plot twist at the end, but I wasn't really into it for the first like 2/3 of the book. I think this is the only Colleen Hoover book I currently own that I haven't read, and I think this is gonna be my next Colleen Hoover read. Then we have this book, which is Danny's book, my boyfriend. He has a bunch of books, but he reads like all nonfiction, and he wanted to put his books on my bookshelf, and I was like, you know, I feel like all my books have the same vibe, and you have your own bookshelf. And now I feel kind of bad saying it out loud, but he has a bookshelf in his room, so he can't really complain. I let him put a few books on my bookshelf. So this one is his, and then there's gonna be a few later on that are also his. Addicted to You, I feel like everyone knows the series. I still haven't finished the series. I got kind of bored of it like halfway through. I do want to revisit it and finish it at some point because the first books were like my favorite series books ever, so I definitely need to finish it. Heartbones by Colleen Hoover, also a great summer read. I believe I gave this book 5 stars. Really, really loved it. Him by Serena Bowen. This is an MM romance that I really liked. There's also a sequel to it that I need to read, but it is a hockey romance, so love me sports romances. The Silent Patient, this is a mystery book. I think I gave it like 4-ish stars. I felt a little bit mixed about the twist, but overall I really enjoyed it. The Cheerleaders, I haven't read this book yet. It is also a YA mystery, and I would love to read this before fall ends. Along for the Ride, another summer romance. Loathe at First Sight, I haven't read, but the fact that it's Loathe at First Sight, I'm hoping it's Enemies to Lovers because that is my favorite trope. Dial A for Aunties, this book is crazy. It is mystery, romance, comedy, murder, like it just has so many genres in one, which I love, and I definitely need to read the sequel very soon. Top Secret, another MM romance by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy, and this one is also Enemies to Lovers, and this is the first MM romance I ever read, and I loved it. The Summer I Turned Pretty, a YA romance. I feel like everyone knows The Summer I Turned Pretty. It's just so good, so good. And I loved the TV show even more than the book, which I think is the first time I can ever say I've liked a movie or show adaptation more than the OG books. Book lovers, I think Emily Henry, maybe my favorite author. I feel hesitant to say that, if not my favorite, one of my top 3. And Book Lovers was her newest book, and I loved it. All right, that's it for this shelf. Let's go to our reds and pinks. The Final Gambit, I cannot believe I haven't read this book yet. This is the last book in the Inheritance Game series, and I freaking love the Inheritance Game series. 6-star series, it's YA, mystery, romance, dark academia. So good, so good. I'm gonna read this book this month if it's the last thing I do. These next 2 books I also have not read yet. Books have fallen. Throttled is a Formula 1 racing romance that I also want to read really soon. And then Out of Darkness, which sounds really sad. I think I'm going to do a video of reading sad books for a week. So if any of you guys have any sad book recs, let me know. But I think I'm going to read this book in that video. How to Win Friends and Influence People, one of the 2 self-help books I've ever read. The Thursday Murder Club, I DNF'd this book. I did not finish it. I did not like it. And I was so excited for this book, so I'm so sad that I hated it. A Court of Thorns and Roses. I know everybody raves about this book, and I'm trying to get more into fantasy. I'm in the middle of so many series right now, so I'm not sure when I'm going to start this book, but I think I'm going to love it. Four Dead Queens, another fantasy. I've owned this book for a long time, and I really need to read it. I really need to just do an entire fantasy video, to be honest. Love on the Brain, I loved The Love Hypothesis, and I've heard people say that this book is similar, so I feel like I'll also like this book, but some people have said that it's so similar to The Love Hypothesis that it's kind of not worth reading, so I'm really intrigued. I definitely want to read it for sure. The Summer of Broken Rules, another summer romance. So good, so good. And if you like books with no spice, this book has no spice. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I feel kind of mixed about this book. It's a romance that also involves time travel. I think I gave it like 3 stars. Oh my gosh, why did I forget I own this book? Funny you should ask. I love the cover. This is like my favorite book cover that I own, and it's a romance, and the guy in the romance is like a celebrity actor, and I think romances with celebrities are so interesting. All right, for our greens to blues to one purple book, first I've got Pride and Premeditation, which is a Pride and Prejudice spin-off. I don't know if that's the right word. Pride and Prejudice with a twist, a murder mystery twist. I think. Terms and Conditions. This is the sequel to The Fine Print. I read The Fine Print and I really liked it. So next I need to read Terms and Conditions, which is the brother of the main character in The Fine Print. One last gift. I'm starting to slowly collect Christmas and winter books because later this month I want to do like a giant haul / book rec video for Christmas winter books. So I have no idea what this book is about, but it looks Christmassy, so that's why I own it. The Inheritance Games. You guys know I already love this series. After, I will read this eventually, probably in my book / movie TV adaptation series that I talked about that I want to do eventually. I've seen all of the movies, but never read the books. And I know people have controversial opinions on them. Ooh, Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, another book that was also made into a movie. Look at the deal. Look at this book. I love this book, but why is it so much taller than the rest? Like, why can't books just all be the same size? There should be like some universal law that's like books all have to be this exact size so your bookshelf can look better. Anyway, this is the deal. I hate the cover because it looks like it's so spicy explicit, but it's really not. It's a great story. It does have spice, but it is a sports romance and it's the first book in the Off-Campus series. It starts with us. I just read. This is the sequel to It Ends With Us. I feel like people really didn't like this book, but I really liked It Starts With Us. Reminders of Him, another Colleen Hoover book that I really liked. The Selection, I love The Selection. I've read the first 3 books in the series and I plan on reading the next 2 and all of the little novellas because I just love the whole Selection world. Okay, oh my gosh, I kind of forgot I own this book too. Boy Meets Boy, this book is so tiny. I have no excuse why I haven't read it yet. I think it's under 200 pages. Yeah, it's under 200 pages and it's an MM romance. None Shall Sleep, one of my favorite YA murder mysteries ever. Please read this book. It involves juvenile serial killers and teenagers helping the FBI. Lost in the Beehive. This book sounds really sad, so I might also read this in my Reading Sad Books for a week. Another Emily Henry book, Beach Read. This is the first book I ever read a year ago when I got into reading, and I still love it so much. I'll just like randomly open this book and like read scenes from it. The Honeymooners and The Song of Achilles. I feel like these are both like the OG book talk books. Summer romance and Greek mythology romance. Spinning Silver, I can't remember exactly what this book is about, but I know it's fantasy. Again, I need to make like a whole fantasy video because I have so many unread fantasy books. The Love Hypothesis, such a cute Ali Hazelwood book. Ugly Love, another Colleen Hoover book that I really liked. I also did not realize how much people had mixed feelings on this book. I made a TikTok saying I really like this book and people were like coming for me saying that this book is not good, but I like it. Family of Liars, a sequel to We Were Liars. I think I liked Family of Liars more than We Were Liars, actually. It Happened One Summer, like the best Grumpy Sunshine romance book. Truly Devious is so high on my TBR. It's dark academia, it's YA, it involves this famous private school and I believe a kidnapping, and yeah, it just sounds like a book I'm gonna absolutely love. And then my one purple book is called Dream On, and it looks like a cute little romance. Okay, now for the last section, I tried to organize all these books like legitimately by shades of black. Like it starts with kind of brown and then like dark gray to like full black. So I put some dedication into this shelf. This first book I don't ever plan on reading. I just thought it looked really cool and it's from the 1900s. It's a really old book. I just thought it'd be fun on my bookshelf. Legend Lattes, another fantasy. I have so many fantasy books. Layla by Colleen Hoover. If you want a spooky read, this is your Colleen Hoover spooky read. The Book Thief. Got this book to be like a little bit out of my comfort zone since I think it's just pure fiction and I don't think I've really ever read just pure fiction before. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, another great fall read that I have not read yet. A Gentleman's Murder. I got this book for like $1. Don't really know what it's about, but it had murder in the title and it was really cheap, so I got it. Six of Crows, I haven't read yet, but I'm currently reading the Shadow and Bone trilogy and then I'm gonna start this one next. If you had been with me, I got this book solely based on the cover because I thought it was gonna be like a murder mystery or something because of like the crushed lollipop seemed angsty, but I think it is just a romance. Not complaining though, love romance. Another spooky Colleen Hoover read, Verity. Another OG book talk book, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. The Wicked Deep, I feel like nobody ever talks about this book, but I love it so much and I think the cover is stunning. It's YA and romance mystery. Someone had to do it. The authors of this book sent this book to me, so thank you so much to Amber and Danielle Brown. If We Were Villains, I'm actually reading this book right now, but I put it back on my bookshelf for this video. Bared to You, the spiciest romance book I've ever read in my entire life. Shadow and Bone, which I mentioned that I've read, fantasy book. Joshua Hale's Guide to Not Dating. I feel kind of mixed about this book. It's an okay romance in my opinion. Not my favorite Christina Lauren book. Okay, 2 YA mysteries, one that I haven't read, The Naturals, and one that I have read, 2 Can Keep a Secret. A Touch of Darkness is a romance between Hades and Persephone, and I love this series so much. I've read 3 out of the 4 of the books in the series, I believe. Then I've got a few little books that I honestly don't know if I'm ever gonna read / finish, and then The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, really good mystery, and then these last 2 books are 2 of Danny's books. Okay, now that I showed you guys every single book on my bookshelf, I'm gonna run and show you my last few books that are in like random places throughout my apartment. On my desk, I've got November 9, the first Colleen Hoover book I ever read. On this corner of my desk, The Midnight Library, which I have not read yet, and The Hawthorne Legacy, the sequel to The Inheritance Games. And here is my second bookshelf that just has a few books on it. On the shelf, I've got all my Book of the Month books. I love how they all look together with the Book of the Month symbol on the spines. And then I've got this really cool Great Gatsby book. I love the cover. Then on my shelves, I've got It Ends With Us, and then up there is Hook, Line, and Sinker and People We Meet on Vacation. And then we've got the books on my nightstand. The books on my nightstand are some of my favorite books. The Spanish Love Deception, I gave 5 stars, freaking loved it. And The Atlas 6 is like a magical realism dark academia book, so good, also 5 stars. More 5-star books, Things We Never Got Over. One of my favorite romances ever, Red, White, and Royal Blue, also romance, also 5 stars, loved it. And then Such a Fun Age, I have not read yet. Okay, and then lastly, I shoved a bunch of books on Danny's nightstand, and they really just got shoved there because I was feeling lazy and never got put out anywhere else, but yeah, maybe one day I will put them on my color organized bookshelf. And that is every single book that I own. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and seeing all the 108 books that I own. All right, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.